Trails Alabama statewide trails plan lunch and learn. We'll give everybody a few more minutes. We'll do this introduction. The state of Alabama has funded the Sweet Trails Alabama to develop a statewide trails plan while building partnerships and laying the groundwork for trail development across the state. Sarah is here with us. She's going to go over the plans and everything about the new project, and I look forward to it. I know a lot of you heard about it at the conference and are looking forward to it too. So I will turn it over to her and let's get started. I'm sure there's a lot to go over. Thanks for being here, Sarah, and sharing this great plan with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I really appreciate the intro too. Thanks, Ken and Justin. Can you all see my screen? Just want to make sure everything's looking good. Okay, cool. Well, welcome. Thank you again. Really excited to be here. I'm also joined by Trey Watson, who you see here as well. He's on our Alta team and has been doing a great job with a lot of the GIS and existing conditions data along the way. So today we're going to go over just a brief overview of the plan, and I'm really excited to connect with you all. I haven't really interacted with this group before or met many of you, so I'm really excited to connect overall and get your feedback and thoughts on data as we move forward with this plan. So a quick little intro. My name's Sarah Kovacic, planner with Alta, based out of Huntsville. I'm not originally from here. I've been here for about 2 years. I'm originally from Florida and moved here primarily for all the outdoor recreation and all the fantastic things in our area. So, and Alta Planning and Design is a active transportation focused firm. We do a lot of trail planning throughout the nation. We're based out of Portland, and we've had this Huntsville office for a few years now. So we're growing, and we will have a brick and mortar office location hopefully starting next year. So definitely come visit us when we have that office space. So we have a pretty big group here. So I won't do introductions around the room, but I'd love to hear what agency you're from, and then I thought this would be a fun question to start us off, and I'd love to know your favorite GIS tool. So go ahead, and I thought you guys could put that in the chat. I'm curious to see what you all prefer, and maybe I'll learn something new along the way. I will say I'm pretty much a daily GIS user. I do a little bit of analytics, but mostly cartography. But I'd be interested to hear from you all your favorite tool. Thank you, Nancy. Great. The Department of Public Health. Excellent. Scott, Baldwin County, 911. Lauren from City of Tuscaloosa. Josh with the Jefferson County Commission. Amy, good to connect with you from City of Huntsville. Thanks for your help on our past plan. We got Decatur Utilities. Great. Jefferson County. I might miss a few names here as they're coming in. City of Florence. Some consultants. Tuscaloosa County Commission. Excellent. Something like dashboards. Nice. ArcGIS Online. Yeah, lots of powerful tools with that. Yay, Phoenix. Good to see you here. We got some consultants. Let's see. Coleman 911. Same. Yep. Good to connect with folks. I'm seeing lots of interest in ArcGIS Online. Nice. Oh, great to connect with the Geological Survey. Story maps. Yep. Great. Army Corps of Engineers. Yeah, good to connect. Well, I think that's most folks. Well, thank you for that. That yeah, kind of helps me kind of get an understanding of who else here, and definitely appreciate all of your time today. So I will jump into the project. First, we'll go over a little bit about the history and the focus, how this all got started, and why it's important. And then I'll go through the steps of how we're going to get this project done. We have a pretty fast timelines, so I'll go through the schedule as well. And then we'll dive into a little bit of draft existing conditions and what we have so far data-wise. And then I'll showcase a few of our public engagement and next steps. And we have lots of great opportunities for more meetings. We're also going to have focus group conversations and an email blast that goes out regularly, so we can definitely stay in touch throughout the project. So just want to introduce you to the main project team. The top, we've got Senator Andrew Jones, who helped support the bill and get it passed for the statewide trails plan and for a few other things that support trails that I'll go over in a little bit. Then you might be familiar with Dr. Don Kovach, who leads Singing River Trail. He and Andrew got together and started talking about the need for a statewide trails plan about a year ago, and then coordinated and worked with the Senate to push the bill through. Then you also meet Anna Clem. She's the associate director as well. And then at the bottom, we have our ALTA team here, who you'll meet along the way. So a little bit about the history. So this project came about from Senate Bill 298. Important to note that it passed unanimously in the House and the Senate. And as part of that bill, there are a couple of provisions for trails. First of all, it recognized the importance of trails from the economic benefits side, the tourism side, transportation side, and really an overall quality of life importance. And it set forth funding for the statewide trails plan. And it acknowledged that there's been a lot of great work from the Trails Commission and the Foundation, but there hasn't really been a consolidated effort that's bringing together all of these groups and all of the past planning that has been done in a lot of our major cities that have solid trails plan. So not only was the plan funded, but there was also provisions that supported the acquisition of land, and there's a certain allowance for tax credits. So if private landowners are willing to provide an easement, there's a certain allowance. I forget if it's 25% of property taxes that can go towards those landowners in order to provide the easement. That also set up a project and acquisition fund for trail projects, and also certain liability protections for those private landowners. And, if they needed a fence to, maybe go around a pool or some other potential hazard, the funding is there in order to provide that provision. So that's how it all got started. First, I kind of wanted to step back and talk about why a state trails plan, what's the importance of trails. And when you think about it, trails touch so many important parts of quality of life. It provides active transportation for folks who might not have a vehicle, provides economic development for small towns, as folks will travel from all over the nation to come to top quality trails. We see that with the Chief Ladiga Trail as one example. It's also great for tourism and talent retention, bringing folks to the state, because you have these great quality of life amenities that folks are really looking for today. And we know that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, the outdoor recreation sector. And from the Hoover report, it found that this was the top sector to focus on for continued innovation and economic development. So trails mean money, they mean jobs, and all sorts of innovation for the state. So really, when you think back, trails really do provide so much, not only recreation. So this statewide trails plan came together to bring a lot of efforts that are already in place. We've got the Singing River Trail going on in North Alabama. You've got the Red Rock plan in Birmingham, and you've got the River Region Trails in Montgomery. Those are just some examples of some trail plans that have been developed in the last couple of years. And this is a time to bring all of that planning together and then start to think about how could we make some regional connections between these major trail cities, and then also bring some of these new trail opportunities and economic development opportunities to the smaller towns, which have so much storytelling and unique, beautiful areas as well. So that's the goal of the plan. And then with this plan in place, it sets forth an entire network of trails throughout the state, and then we'll also identify some priority projects for funding over the next couple of years, and then some longer term projects as well. And there are states, nearby states, that have allocated funding for trails in the multi-millions, right? North Carolina completed their statewide trails plan a couple years ago and now has nearly $55 million for trails. Virginia has had a long-standing state trails program. They're allocating $89 million, and then we know Florida with their trails program has around $200 million. So with this plan in place, we could really go after some state level funding for trails. Yeah, and feel free to put questions in the chat or unmute yourself. I want to keep it interactive, so definitely let me know if questions come up along the way. So first of all, how are we going to get the plan done? We've got a couple different parts. The first part is the existing conditions analysis. And we're really trying to get a handle of all of the different trail types across the state. And when we say trails, we're considering all types, by surface type, by user type. So we're looking at trails that are natural surface trails, so state park trails, um, and those that are used by hikers, bikers, and equestrian users. Also your classic shared use paths and your greenways. We're looking at those as well. And then we're looking at some other maybe untraditional routes that you might not think of as trails at the beginning, but we're looking at gravel and low traffic roads where we can kind of utilize some low traffic routes that are really scenic in rural areas, and those could be longer distance adventure routes. We're also looking at OHV and ATV. We know that's a user group that continues to grow and they're looking for more opportunities. And then we're also looking at waterways and paddling trails. So we are pretty much comprehensive of all trail types, and we're working off existing conditions that were identified from the SCORE process and continue to dive into more of the existing conditions for all these trail types. And then the second part of the presentation, I'll go through what data we have so far. And then engagement. Engagement is a really important part of this plan. We want to hear from as many folks across the state as possible and understand what their needs are and interests are for trails. So we have a robust public engagement plan, which I'll share later. And there's many different ways to get involved. We started out with a swing around the state. We visited 11 cities during the first week of October. So we had some great connections there. And then from that, we've had regional meetings. So we're having about 9 meetings we've had about 9 meetings in the last 2 months. We have one in Coleman tomorrow, actually, and then one in Gadsden the next week. So if you're interested, send me a note. I can get you those invites as well. And we've researched down to the city and county level to get in touch with folks who would be interested. And now we have a mailing list with about 900 folks, and we're continuing to add to that. So we have a steering committee comprised of about 48 stakeholders who are helping guide the plan. And then we're also meeting one-on-one with technical stakeholders and focus groups. So we're having focus groups starting this month and into January, where we're going to meet one-on-one with mountain bikers, equestrian users, birders, and other kind of focused trail users. So the goal is that we're going to be able to present a connected trail network that would incorporate all of our 67 counties and have trails going through all the many small towns and connecting these major metropolitan areas into the beautiful rural parts of the state. So we're going to be looking at all types of trails. So that could be shared use path connections. It could be long distance bike routes. And we're really going to be targeting where are those gaps, where are those obvious spots that show up as blank on the map, and then where we see these great connections between large regional trail networks. So one thing that we're looking heavily at is abandoned rail lines. And maybe they're not formally abandoned, but they're currently not in use. So we've gathered multiple data sources on that, and we've been looking at that carefully and coordinating with the Rails to Trails Conservancy, because that's going to be a really top-notch opportunity, is to use some of those corridors if they're still intact. And then in the end, the plan will have an implementation section that's very action-oriented. And we definitely don't want this to be a plan that sits on the shelf. We're imagining some kind of a living document that provides really, really strategic next steps and guidance for folks. And then we'll identify short, medium, and long-term projects, and looking to have projects that are equitably distributed throughout the state. So you get lots of representation and new projects geographically distributed throughout the state. And then we'll go through operational needs and funding sources for folks. And I'm thinking that we'll have some kind of a neat GIS online dashboard that helps folks view the recommendations So we'll keep in touch in terms of what that's going to look like. So a little bit about our schedule. Again, we kicked it off this fall. We're having some local meetings now into later part of the winter. And then from there, we're going to be starting our design of the draft network in the spring and in the summer. We're going to have more meetings in the spring to go over the draft plan and some of these preliminary recommendations. And then the idea is that the plan would be done around May or June so that we could have it all wrapped up before the next legislative session and let them know, here are the top projects and here were some of the recommendations moving forward. So I just want to pause there for a second, see if anyone had questions about the project.
Hey, Sarah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Baldwin County 911. My name's Scott. I'm wondering, is there any kind of public safety aspect being looked at with the trails as well? We have a lot of troubles, I know, with Gulf State Park and their trail system. I think it's like 30-something miles or something of trails, I think, in Gulf State Park. And we get a lot of calls out there, and people maybe sprain an ankle or something like that, and we have trouble locating them. And we, a couple years ago, started using an app called What 3 Words. Is there something like maybe you guys could look at integrating something like that into your maps and your websites and such to let people know that they could use What 3 Words to help public safety, locate them should they, get injured on the trails?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for bringing that up. This is the first time I've heard this mentioned, but I'm feeling like this needs to be a focus group conversation, to kind of hear from folks. But yeah, that would be the idea, is that all of our trail managers and agencies are using a similar platform.
Yeah, I think every 911 center, I think in the state, has the ability to search What 3 Words using some of the tools that we have now in 911 centers. The state 911 board provides us a portal that we're able to see a lot of information and search things with What 3 Words. But then also, if you take a look at Arizona State Parks and Trails, they've actually integrated into their website, as has California State Parks. Both of them are using What 3 Words and advertise it pretty heavily. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And What 3 Words has already developed like a locator that you can put into your mapping websites for RGS Online. They built all the marketing material for you. All you got to do is just make it Alabama's, and just swap pictures out. This picture you got of this guy, of a view looking out over this valley, you could even take that photo and then actually give the What 3 Words location of where he's standing, and hikers can use it to find those locations and navigate to that exact location so that they can experience that same view. So it can be used more for just public safety.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic tool. We're going to look more into that, and I so appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah, because we're trying to find kind of singular databases that folks can use, right? Because there's so many different sources for trails. So how can we integrate something that everybody knows as kind of your one-stop shop? And that seems great. Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Melissa. Yeah, I see she's got the putting in some address on lampposts as lat long. Yeah, that's typical, where we see some geographic information on signage. But yeah, maybe there's some way we can kind of build upon this digital database and platform. So that's neat. Yeah, I think this is kind of like this will be a great conversation moving forward when we get to implementation, to talk about the best platform and what has worked well for folks. And then we've got a lot of areas that don't have cell service. So how do we identify those and make sure folks are safe out there? So very cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Just give a little bit of time if anyone else wanted to speak up. Thank you.
Hey, so this is Aslan from St. Clair County, and I just want to kind of reiterate what Scott was saying. In St. Clair County, we have 2 lakes in the Coosa River that runs our county. We also have a lot of trails and parks. And we're starting to work with the municipalities and the people that are running the parks to use the what three words. But also in 911, we have a standard schema that we use to map out all of our center lines and roads. So we'd like to get with y'all, and any of your data, we can show you like the format that we have to use the schema so that it works with our 911 calls.
Yes.
That may be beneficial if you're going to be drawing to have the same attributes that we have.
Yes, that would be excellent. I'd love to take a look, at your schema and attribute table. And as we're coming up with recommendations and cataloging all of our existing trails that we've found, how do we, start tagging them with those important attributes? So yeah, let's stay in touch. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, that's going to be a large part of this effort. Is there's so much great data out there of existing trails, but it's all, right? They've been managed by different agencies. They have different attribute tables. So that's part of our existing conditions analysis, is once we have as much data as we can together from all different sources, how do we start merging that into one really solid database that can be spread across the state and distributed? Yeah. Great. Yeah, thank you for sharing Crystal's info. Yeah, we've been in touch with her a bit, but yeah, we're gonna we'll continue to have conversations. So that's great. Appreciate it. We'll definitely put some more questions in the chat if anything else comes up along the way. I'll jump into some draft existing conditions, and we got started about 2 months ago, so we're draft at this stage, but I feel like we have a pretty solid set of data. So I'll go through what we have in a little bit, but just want to go over goals. Oh, sorry, I see Bonnie raised her hand. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Hi. Yeah. When you mentioned standardizing for safety and 911 issues, some other things came to mind that I am wondering about, and that is accessibility. Will there be any kind of coding for accessibility as far as safety? Like myself, I have balance problems, so I don't want to go on a bunch of trails with a lot of roots unless I've got my stick with me, my walking stick. And I know other people have issues. Will there be any effort to address that either in the near future or down the road?
Yes, great question. We have a accessibility focus group coming up, so I'll share that info. And yes, we want to be able to catalog all the existing trails and the proposed trails in the network by accessibility and by surface type. So your shared use paths would be differentiated from maybe a natural surface trail. And I think if we can get the data, it'd be great to distinguish between the natural surface trails that are easy and don't have obstacles, and those that are more technical, because right, folks want a variety of different experiences. So yeah, I think and we're cataloging the existing trails, we're going to be looking at which ones are ADA accessible, and then looking at kind of that next tier. Maybe it's a gravelly road or trail, and then going to that other tier of maybe natural surface that has minimal obstacles. And then adaptive biking is coming up, and there's great opportunities for adaptive mountain bike trails. So yeah, great question. Yeah, and I'll share the focus group information out. So we're going to need probably some help when it comes to gathering that local data. We're pretty set with the surface type, but the difficulty rating and the obstacles, that might, have to come from more local sources. But yeah, we're coordinating with folks to get as much of that local knowledge as we can. Well, great question. So I'll dive into a little bit about our existing conditions and what are the main goals for this part of the plan. So we're trying to identify all existing trails by user type and surface type, and it's really comprehensive of all those different trail types I mentioned earlier. And we want to use this data to identify existing mileage of trails by type. And depending on the data that we're able to populate, we can kind of take that down into other levels and look at, agencies and other types of attributes. So from there, we want to be able to create a complete data set of all existing trails, and then have that as a resource that can be shared publicly. And then from there, we'll be able to take a look at the existing network and identify where are those regional connections that could be made and where are some opportunities for new trail routes. So just wanted to give you a quick overview of some of the sources we've brought in so far. We've utilized a lot of national federal resources, USGS, USFS, some Army Corps data, and NOAA info for waterway access, the National Recreational Trails Database, National Historic and Scenic Trails like the Natchez Trace and the Selma to Montgomery Historic Trail, TVA, some Fish and Wildlife, some Great Trails Conservancy data of both existing rail trail projects and also proposed corridors that they've looked at in the past. And then we brought in a lot of data from the public areas database as well. Then we know that there are gaps in that data, so we've also looked at some user created data and have been vetting it. We've brought in some all trails data and then have made sure that it's on public land. That is a great spot for trails. I know a lot of the public use that, but there can be some issues with that data, so we're using that carefully. Also some trail forks data as well, along with Backcountry, which has some great long distance routes, and ADV Rider for some adventure routes as well, and then kind of looking at Google Maps to cross-check some of that data and look at the routes that Google's recognizing. For state and local sources, we've brought in the DCNR, state parks and public lands data. We've also brought in the Historic Register and Council of Governments data. We've heard back from most and have really solid data sets from them. And then we've made strategic asks to city and county folks as well. And then we're bringing in data from the SCORE process as well. Thank you, Kayla, for that note. Yes, Strava is a great one. There's so many great long distance routes that folks have put in. Also, Map My Ride is another great one as well. We might look at for that long distance biking network. And Strava Metro is on the list of wish list data. And I have struggled in the past to get that data from them, especially from the private consultant side. So if anyone has access to that, that would be really, really helpful, right? Those riders are already choosing the low traffic and scenic routes. It would be great to see what folks are already using. And then there's a lot of great plans that have been recently completed in the last couple of years, and also plans that are going on right now. So just wanted to feature a few here. We've got Singing River Trail, also Lawrence County Trails Plan, Freshwater Land Trust Plan, River Regions Plan, and the City of Mobile Greenway Plan. And also we know that the Sarpsey and Baldwin County plans are in progress. We know that, let's see, there's been Elmore County has a recent plan on outdoor recreation, and we have a comprehensive list of a bunch of past trail plans. I've just provided a few of these regional, really large regional plans here. But as part of this plan, we are going through we're collecting as many previous plans out there and also digitizing some of that data. I forgot to mention that we have a fantastic graduate student at JSU helping with this project. Also, JSU is a really important partner during this, as part of this project as well. And they're helping us create a lot of new data for this project. So that's the goal, is to be able to visualize all of the previous planning that has been done. So a little bit on data that we're hoping to get. We have some data, some county data of low traffic roads. Some of them have attributes for surface types, some don't, but it'd be really great to see that where we can pinpoint the gravel roads and some of those low traffic rural roads. Also, parcel data, we might work with Flagship to get that parcel data depending on when we get into the routing And we want to take a look at those large tracts of land and work with some of the landowners who are interested in trails. Also, paddling routes. We're working with Alabama Scenic Trail and JSU to get that data, but we know there's a bunch of other routes out there that folks know of and local groups utilize. So we want to get more of that local data, and then historic routes. So we're going through some historic maps and trying to figure out those routes and see how we can kind of bring in some of that storytelling. So we've been researching Byler Road, and we know there's a bunch of Native American routes, the Underground Railroad. So we're looking into that to see how we can bring that into the plan. So just wanted to give you a preview of what data we have right now on trails. So we have merged the data we have so far, and we're looking at about 350 to 375 miles. We've got to do a little bit of data checking and confirm that that's true, but that would be your shared use paths and your greenways. So typically paved trails, some gravel trails like the Richard Martin Trail up here in the north part of the state. Thank you, Spence, for that comment. Yeah, the Regional Planning Commission of Greater Birmingham has been great. Yeah, CAS has provided some excellent data, and we have the latest from the Freshwater Land Trust. So the LDCOGs have been excellent with sharing their data. So then for natural surface trails, we have about 1,500 miles. That's what we're showing here with this map to the right. So you see quite a bit in Bankhead area, and you've got the Pinhoti Trail and all the trails around Anniston, quite a few around Birmingham, and then you see some dotted a bit around Montgomery and a bit to the south as well. So interesting to see you know, the distribution. And then also just wanted to mention that there has been a big push for connecting the Pinhoti to the Appalachian Trail. So that's something that we're looking at. And we've also heard from a lot of folks in Birmingham that they want to connect over to the Pinhoti. So you can kind of get a sense of some of that distribution here. And then for scale, you know, that's quite a bit of, you know, it's a good bit of shared use paths. And we think of the Chief Ladiga as a really long trail, and that's 33 miles. So just to kind of give a sense of like scale, you know, we got some pretty good mileage so far, but still definitely some work to be done. And I'm curious to see how other states compare too. So I think we'll look into that data as well. And then previously planned trails, just wanted to give you a snapshot of the regional trail plans, and those are highlighted here in the blue on the right. So you definitely see all the Singing River Trail plans, the Red Rock Plan, River Region trails in Montgomery, and then there's been a lot of work with regional trail connections over to Columbus as well. So we see where there could definitely be an opportunity to go from Huntsville to Birmingham, Birmingham down to Montgomery, connect over to Anniston, go over to Tuscaloosa, and then we're figuring out the connections down to Dothan and these smaller towns in the southwest part of the state. And if you all have connections with folks kind of in this part of the state, please let us know. We're working on setting up a regional meeting with these folks. So that's one that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, just wanted to showcase this map here on the left of the connections that Singing River Trail is making from Florence all the way over to Bridgeport. And then there definitely are opportunities to connect over into Tennessee and Georgia. So this is that time to take a look at it and see how we can make those connections. And then also as part of this process, we are creating a lot of data depending on where the gaps are. So when we were doing this, when we were starting this process, we realized we wanted to have some data on trail destinations. So JSU has been a fantastic partner, and they're helping out identify destinations, all types of trail destinations across the state. So we're looking at traditionally considered data sets like you would think of like for trails, like trailheads and access points, but then also looking at some different types of destinations like entertainment and historical points of interest, where we might want to start connecting these destinations and help folks go from where they live to these destinations as well. Also layering in schools as well from that active transportation perspective as well. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we are cataloging those previously planned trails that came from past projects that might not have GIS data. So we're going through now and cataloging that, and then also digitizing that. So that will be available as well. And then we're doing an economic benefits analysis. So moving from the spatial data, we are also looking at the Chief Ladiger Trail and providing some baseline numbers of what have been the economic benefits, and then what the economic benefits would be from the trails that are proposed as part of this plan. So thank you, Melissa. Yes, an exciting time for trails for sure. So hoping that this sets a framework and can really help, frame trails as a really important investment moving forward and provide some state level support. So we definitely need your help. We're about 2 months into collecting data, and we're moving quickly, and we want to make sure we have as much that's out there as possible. So I provided this link. I'll also pop it in the chat towards the end. But if you have any data to share, we really, really appreciate it. We're kind of looking across the board for existing trail data, destinations, anything you think that would be important. We'd really appreciate it. So if you are on your phone and have data, that's one option, or the link is probably easier, and here you can just drag and drop files. So yeah, we appreciate any data, or if you have contacts in mind who have data, I would really appreciate it. I see some plans in the chat already, so I appreciate that. So just wanted to give you an overview of engagement and next steps. Actually, I should pause a little bit. And I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions about our data analysis. Bonnie, sounds good. Yeah, my afternoon's open, so feel free to send me a chat. Yes, I will share the presentation right after. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope it can be useful. Yeah, well, let me know if anything else comes up. And now I just want to go through a few opportunities to get involved. And we encourage you all to check out the website, the sweettrailsalabama.org. I'll put that in the chat as well. There's also an active Facebook page and Instagram, so definitely follow us. And then we have a quick survey. It's about 7 questions, and we really appreciate your feedback there. And as much as you can promote it, we have about 600 responses right now. We're hoping to hit around 3,000 or more. So we really, really appreciate the promotion of that. And I'll share some 2-pagers that make it really easy for folks to access the survey. And then, like I mentioned, we have focus groups coming up. We're going to have conversations about hiking, mountain biking, equestrian, OHV, birding, and accessibility. So if you have any interest in sitting in on those conversations, send me an email or put it in the chat. We can send you those invites. And then we also have a mailing list as well. If you're interested in staying informed, we can get you signed up on that as well. So I did want to showcase our public engagement map, our public input map. This is a really robust resource where folks can share info about existing trails and trails that they'd like to see. This is the first landing page, and then you press that tab to get into the map. And then this provides various drawing options, so folks can go in and pick where they would like to see where there are destinations they'd like to reach by a trail. They can locate existing trails not shown on the map. You can draw where you wish there was a trail, draw your favorite low traffic roads, and then also draw where you'd like to see blueways. So I can show you what some users have left so far. We've got some feedback here in Gadsden. So Brett was looking for some new destinations here along the riverfront. So this is really going to be helpful. We can bring this into the data set and catalog it by new destination type. And then Yeah, and folks are identifying some really long regional connections. That's great. I think there's an abandoned rail line there, so that could be really neat. And then you can take a look at this legend and you can see the different types of data that folks are leaving. So yeah, you've got existing greenways shown in the dark green. Previously proposed trails are shown in the dashed orange. And then we've got our natural surface trails here in the brown. So this provides a snapshot of the data we have so far. We're constantly adding to it. So this will change as we go through the process. But for right now, it's a pretty good shot of what, snapshot of what we have so far. So definitely want to promote this and get folks' feedback. This will help us understand some connections folks have identified and what regional connections they want to see. So great. Well, let me know if you have any questions on that. And then I did want to bring up our 2-pagers. So this is a valuable resource just as a handout. We'll provide this as a PDF, but great to send to your decision makers, your council members, and just let them know about the project and the importance of trails. We know there's a lot of education to be done. So that could be a helpful guide. And that this is just a really loose conceptual graphic of what some potential connections would be. But that's kind of the goal in the end, is to have this connected network of all different trail types. And then this provides an overview of how to get involved and how the plan is set up into different sections. Let's see. And then this is where you can access the website, the survey, and all the social media spots as well. And our contact is here as well. So I'll follow up with the presentation and these 2-pagers as well. Yeah, thanks, Melissa. I appreciate that. We'll get these out. Let's see, Clint. Oh, the perimeter trail. I'm going to have to look at that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I will take a look at that. Thank you for that link. Oh goodness, I am sorry to hear that about the Sweet Trails website and issues with accessing the map. I will look into that. Yeah, that is strange. Maybe there could be something with their with the link in there. So we'll take a look. I'll take a look at that. Huh, that's weird. I wonder if there's some protections. I guess, yeah, let me know from other folks how it's looking on your end, but we'll check with their website host. Appreciate that. Well, definitely want to keep in touch with you all, and I'm really grateful to be here and to have all you join us today. So just wanted to leave my contact info here to stay in touch, and definitely please reach out at any time during the process. And just wanted to leave you with a trail inspiration photo here. This is the Sipsey paddling trail. I went in April and it was absolutely amazing. I don't know if you've done that route before, but it was really beautiful. You kind of have to know for sure exactly where to get out, but it's a beautiful paddling trail, and you can see so many wonderful waterfalls on the side. So just wanted to leave you with that. And that's it for today. I really appreciate your time and attention. It means a lot to us. Kayla, I will send you that meeting invite for Coleman. And we also sent out a recent email blast with some information. Oh no, it's being blocked by your ITS. Interesting. Let's look into that. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to leave the time now for any questions. And thank you, Tanya. I appreciate it. Great to connect with you all. Looking forward to working more with you all, and making that. Hopefully I'll be able to go to the conference next year and see you all. So yeah, thank you very much.
All right, we'll hang around for a few more minutes and see if anybody else has any questions. As always, I want to appreciate everyone joining us on behalf of the GIS Association of Alabama and Sweet Trails Alabama. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking your time. If you have any questions, you can contact us on the website. You can contact Sarah through her email. We are recording, and we should have the event up on our website soon. So if you have any questions for us, send them in the email. And appreciate everyone coming.
Thank you. I just put the file sharing link in the chat. And I saw, Bonnie, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I will give you a call as soon as this meeting closes out, so we're not just dominating the time talking in the meeting. I've got a lot of ideas, so I'd love to share them with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, put my email in there. Let me put my phone number, and yeah, definitely reach out along the way. Well, thanks everyone. Yep.
All right. Well, that looks to be the majority of the questions. Again, you can email your questions after the fact. The recording will be up in a few days. So we look forward to seeing you in our next event. It should be announced soon. As always, go to gisaa.org for all GIS information and events around the state. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.
Thanks. Take care.